I'm Alicia.
And I'm Maddie.
And welcome to the Fangirl Diaries, a podcast where we talk about our obsessions,
Reminisce about our teen icons,
and explore the books, movies, and shows that made us the incredibly nerdy 30-somethings that we now are. Hello, Maddie!
Hey, Alicia!
We are back.
We're back. Hello to all of our tens of listeners.
Thank you for bearing with us, particularly those of you who have been listening to our kind of mini-series of Buffy season-by-season deep dives.
I know, I think we have some dedicated listeners to that series, so...
Yeah, there's nerdism within nerdism here, because our other episodes do sort of one thing at a time, but this is us assuming that other people rewatch Buffy the Vampire Slayer on repeat as much as me and you do. So, which personally for me is a lot, like every year.
And we're finally coming to our last episodes.
Yeah, that's it. This is the last one. We are going to combine discussion of season 6 and season 7 into one.
Yeah.
This could be long.
It could be.
It could be long.
Be prepared.
And we have opinions.
Yeah.
It could get angry. It could get upsetting. Yeah. We feel strongly about these episodes and these seasons.
We ended the last episode about Buffy with like our favourite season, basically, with episode 5 and talking about season 5 and talking about like some of the things that we thought made Buffy, you know, really epic, and it kind of being the kind of culmination of that. And then now we come to kind of what happens after the peak of Buffy.
What happens after she dies.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Sorry. As ever, there are spoilers. Please don't listen to this if you don't want anything spoiled from Buffy. And, okay, now we can carry on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, season 5 ends with Buffy's death.
Yeah.
She dies to save the world. Classic.
Yeah.
And she also fundamentally dies to save Dawn.
Yeah.
Which we had talked about as being a lovely conclusion to that season's arc, where she started off being really annoyed with the kid sister that the show had just conveniently introduced, ending up wanting to die for her at the end, which she then does.
That could have been the end of Buffy and the whole show.
Yeah, I mean, in Buffy's sort of kind of history, that was meant to be the end of the show. It'd been contracted for 5 seasons, it was on the WB, and that was really as far as, I think, Joss Whedon's kind of plan went. And then it gets renewed. But the WB don't renew it, it moves network.
But as with a lot of shows, I think that's quite a common pattern, is like a showrunner will have an idea for a certain number of seasons, but if it's successful, they'll often end up doing 1 or 2 or even more seasons after that.
Yeah.
And sometimes, as with Buffy, things shift, things change, the tone changes, and it can sometimes end up feeling a little bit lost, shows, when they carry on past where the original plan was.
Yeah, and there were big kind of fundamental structural or logistical things with these last 2 Buffy seasons that generate that. So we're on a new network, which has a very different audience and has a very different sort of watershed or tolerance for what can be shown. So things that were maybe curtailed or just artistic decisions that had to be a little bit repressed in seasons 1 through 5 are given full license, either for good or for bad, that we'll get into. Actors have renewed their contracts, but you also get, when there's been a show like this, you're going to have the problem of like actor fatigue sometimes, which I don't think these 2 seasons are entirely absent or sort of exempt from. You also get that Joss Whedon steps down as showrunner and Marty Noxon takes over. So we do have somebody different at the helm, which is a woman.
Yeah.
Also interesting. So that doesn't mean that Joss Whedon stops writing for Buffy, and a lot of the big episodes are still him, but it is, we're in a new era.
And I think the biggest thing for me that I really noticed was a tone shift.
Definitely.
I think this is the main thing, is we went from, even in the darkest moments of seasons like 3, 4 and 5 that had really big epic moments, it still had a kind of lightheartedness and a kind of a lot of comedic moments, and that group dynamic was kept everything seeming, whilst still serious, quite upbeat. And we kind of move into an era of everything being much more melancholy and deeply emotional in a kind of different way to what we've seen before.
Very much. The tonal shift is often what people pick up about seasons 6 and 7, whether they, and then that informs whether they like it or not, basically.
Yeah.
But it feels like seasons 1 through 5, if they were like cocktails, they would be really well balanced, and they'd be like a margarita. Or like a mojito.
Like a spicy.
Yeah, something spicy. Okay, there's some alcohol in there. Yeah. But it's also a little bit peppy.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, you're there for a good time.
Yeah.
It feels like season 6 and 7, you're on the like straight liquor. Yeah. You're just on shots.
Or like
it's really taken a turn.
Or a scotch.
Yeah. Or like, what's that one that's really dark? Like something Russian. Or like, one of these, one of those cocktails. Yeah, Black Russian, exactly. And so it feels like you've entered this, because as a TV show, Buffy is fundamentally about enjoying consuming something.
Yeah.
Like we were having a good time consuming seasons 1 through 5. And now we feel like we've entered that bit of the night where, it's like 4 a.m. People are on shots. It's getting a bit depressing.
Yeah.
You feel like you should go home. Yeah. But somehow you're still watching.
Yeah.
And that's where we are.
And I think this is no surprise to anyone. I think for season 6, that just about manages to hold on. And then for season 7, I did find myself feeling a little bit like, ooh, I'm kind of forcing myself to keep watching this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not excited to watch the next one. I'm more like, I need to watch the next one because we're going to review it.
Yeah.
And
I need to get to the end.
I need to get to the end.
Yeah.
But not like really loving it in the way that previous seasons I have.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. And so much of this is based on exactly that, just an overall feeling of how much enjoyment you've got out of a show that was originally a real comfort show and a joy and a passion project to watch. And I have kind of two feelings about this. One is that I too find season 6 and 7 really hard and really depressing. But then when I was thinking about all the many things we're going to discuss, there are moments of real quality in here, some really genius bits, and it can't be just entire. It's not a fail. It's not an overall fail.
No. It's quite meaningful in places. Like
Very
it makes
much.
some like really important points about like big topics, which Buffy has always done.
Yeah,
but it does them in a much more melancholic way.
Yeah, there are some episodes in season 6 and 7 that genuinely rank among some of the best episodes overall. But then there are also some episodes that genuinely rank among just like completely skippable.
Yeah.
Some real kind of time fillers. And season 7, which ultimately should be the big finale, you're right, does feel a little bit of a fade out.
Yeah.
And it's like, when we've done musicals, you very recently, and you're always told by the director, it doesn't matter how bad the song is or how bad you are singing it, but as long as you do it with energy and a massive smile, the audience watching it think they're watching something great.
Yeah.
And my problem with season 7 is I feel like the writers are fatigued. I feel like Sarah Michelle Gellar is fatigued. I feel like the people I'm watching don't really want to be there anymore.
Yeah.
So I stopped wanting to be there.
Yeah.
Although not entirely, because I still want to be there. It's still Buffy. I'm still there. I'm still in.
Yeah.
I'd still be a Scooby. But yeah, you do feel a little bit like we've started to reach the end.
Yeah. I think maybe if we start from season 6 and show some of the changes that have happened in the relationships and things and why that means that the show shifts. So for example, obviously most clearly we start off with no Buffy.
Buffy is dead.
Buffy is dead.
She's like actually dead. Not for like the 2 seconds at the end of season 1 where she briefly fell in a pond and sort of died for about 30 seconds. She is buried. She is gone.
Yeah, she is completely dead. And obviously that changes the dynamic. But actually that doesn't last very, very long. And we see that the group needs and wants her back pretty quickly. And they take the correct call for the show to bring her back pretty quickly.
It would be so hard to run Buffy the Vampire Slayer without Buffy, but yes, it does take them a while.
It probably is the first time we see Willow kind of really like taking much more of a leading role in the group is while Buffy is away.
Yeah.
And so that obviously like then when Buffy comes back shifts a bit of the dynamic of the group because Willow has proven to be very powerful and like really taken on a serious role in the group rather than like just psychic role. So that shifts things a little bit. Which
Definitely. Buffy's absence has left a void that Willow really has to fill with her new power. And the first episode of season 6 is actually a bit of a really nice mirror to really Anne. The first, which we think is always terrible, episode of season 3. Where again, Buffy is gone. She's gone off to LA properly. And the gang are really scraping the barrel.
It's really bad.
With like trying to just about, use a crossbow at a demon. I'm always impressed when I watch the start of season 6 how well the gang is actually coping.
Yes, well, they do have Spike.
They have Spike. They have the Buffy bot. They've got Willow is a badass.
Yeah. They really know what they're doing at this point.
Xander has just about learned how to punch someone. So it feels actually like when I watch that episode, I'm always like, do you know what? They're doing pretty credibly. It's not bad.
Yeah.
And they're trying to conceal the fact that Buffy is dead.
Yeah.
But they do take the decision to bring her back.
Yeah, well, Willow in particular is the one who really pushes for it. Everyone else has their wobbly moments, even the ones that do know about it. But Willow is like, no, she takes the call that they are going to bring her back and that she thinks she can do it, which she can.
Absolutely. And loads of what happens in the opening foreshadows all the big themes that are going to happen in season 6. So you have this enormous decision to bring Buffy back.
Yeah.
But fundamentally, the Scoobies are lying to each other within that gang. They don't tell Dawn.
Yeah.
They don't tell Giles.
Yeah.
They don't tell Spike. Yeah. So what then becomes this major theme of like fractured relationships, fragmentation inside the Scoobies is there from day one.
Yeah. And the major theme of the series of whether that was the right decision to bring Buffy back is like set up right at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they're hiding it from people, even within them that know it, they're not sure. Like, was that the right thing to do? Doesn't just go away. That is like major throughout the whole season.
Yeah.
As well as, obviously, this is the season of Willow's powers being taken to higher and higher and higher heights, to bad ends. And so that starts right from the beginning as well, is like her stepping up in her power and her reach and her willingness to do things that are probably wrong because she has the power to do them and she believes she can control it, even though maybe she can't.
Yeah. How do you feel about the kind of conceptual decision the show made to not just bring Buffy back, but to bring her back and to have had her be in heaven?
Yeah.
And her whole response to that. Like, how do you think that sits? Does it work? The fact that she's...
I think it's very clever.
Me
and
too.
I think it's very interesting.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I think it's a really interesting phenomena. Like, I don't think I've seen anything quite done like that before.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that, just bringing someone back to life is not this joyous occasion. She immediately doesn't feel right. She's acting weird within the group. The group can't quite understand why she's not thankful of them. Like, Willow in particular is kind of mad that, like, she hasn't been thanked. for this, like, amazing thing. And in fact, it actually takes a while for us to learn why Buffy is not quite right. But it's because she was actually at peace. And she was happy, or whatever emotion you have when you're gone and at peace and, of the universe again.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't want to be dragged back into the pain and suffering of the real world, and in particular Sunnydale.
Yes. And in particular a land of bills, possible homelessness.
Yeah.
You got to look after Dawn again.
Yeah.
You're right, her life's not looking too great at that point. I thought it was a really, really clever subversion of our expectations.
Yes.
And of a willingness not to fall back into the same kind of tired patterning that would have happened otherwise. Like, we have had people trapped in a hell dimension. We've had Angel brought back from a hell dimension.
Yeah.
We've done that.
And other shows have done that as well.
Oh, let's not start on how many times Supernatural brings people back from a hell dimension.
And it's always just, well, yes, you want to be back alive because we assume that being alive is the better state. But actually to explore that maybe it's not is really interesting.
But this is where I have a bit of a fracture between what I think is artistically clever and what I want to watch.
Yeah, because it's a bit depressing.
It's depressing, that's it. I think it's really clever that Buffy's whole narrative arc in season 6 is trying to recover from the fact that she fundamentally wants to be dead again.
Yeah.
And that is intelligent, but it's a bit like the discussions we've had about the trajectory of someone like Katniss, or the trajectory of other heroines who, once they have entered a really, really dark place in either a season of books or a TV show, we find them hard to kind of...
to get out of it.
Yeah, we find it hard to sit in that funk with them for too long.
You can't just go back to the fun and playful, like, high school friends all messing about with vampires anymore, because it's become about something so serious. Yeah. And you can't just lose that for an episode or two. So it sets the tone for the whole season.
Yes. Okay. So then let's think about what does happen in season 6 otherwise. Well, we have a fundamental absence. Giles.
Yeah.
He's basically excluded. Actually, in terms of season 6 and 7, Giles is almost... well, he's hardly there. And this is an acting, like a kind of an actor's logistics going on, because he had to be back in England for his kids.
He's a secondary character in these seasons.
Yeah.
He comes in and out for specific episodes, but he is not, like, first listed on the credits anymore.
No, not at all. And even sometimes, like, with Anthony Stewart Head as Giles, but Anthony Stewart Head just couldn't renew his contract in the same way. He had family obligations. Yeah. He is actually British, unlike James Masters, and so had to be here a lot. Madeline and I are recording this in London, just for reference. So the show had to sort of deal with him being there but being not there, and it turns out it is such a destabilizing quality for the viewers not to have Giles there.
Yeah, and I never knew at any particular point, like, why he was or wasn't meant to be there. Like, I could never really follow it. Like, if you asked me, when does he leave? When does he come back? Why does he leave? When does he come? Like, I couldn't tell you now.
Yeah.
Like, just by episode, I'd be like, maybe he's here, maybe he's not. Like, it never really, like, made that much sense. And there would be storylines like, oh, Buffy and Giles have fallen out and it's a bit sad, but, like, it was sad for the argument, and then it didn't really go to anything, because then he'd come back at some point, and it didn't really mean much anymore, which is sad.
The only bit of season 6 where the dynamic with Giles is given like serious logic, again, sits in that place for me where I like it artistically and I hate it as a viewer.
Yeah.
So it is when Giles is shown to have been almost parenting Buffy and Dawn, and they're overly reliant on him. He starts paying off her debts. He is basically babysitting Dawn. And for that whole episode, this is the great irony, Buffy's having a much better time. Yeah. She starts wearing pastels again. She's feeling a little bit fluffier.
Yeah.
And I think she even gives Giles a sort of hug or something at some point. And I think, oh, good. Oh, phew. This is much better. So you, the viewer, realise how desperately reliant on Giles you are to maintain the lightness of the show and to give Buffy a bit of security.
And a bit of space to, like, go off and do things rather than being tied back to reality.
Exactly. So the minute Giles leaves, we get all of the things that I start to detest about season 6. I do not want to watch, in my supernatural kind of excitement show, episodes about dealing with bills.
No.
Or about Buffy having to get a low-paying job.
Yeah, no.
I'm not here for it. I don't want it. And I know that fans of season 6 will say this is really intelligent from the show, and it starts to situate, you know, what happens when the Slayer has to obviously function in society.
But it's not interesting in a way. Like, I guess it's the equivalent of them being at school or at college, but those environments are, like, fun and entertaining environments. The workplace and paying bills is not a fun environment.
Yes. Season 6 has scenes where Buffy tries to go to the bank for a loan. And I think, I just don't want this.
No.
This show exists to me so that if I've had to deal with something to do with banks for a day, I can offset the horror of that by watching Buffy.
They do fix that in season 7. It's one of the things that's actually better in season 7.
That's true.
Which is her going back to the school as, like, some kind of random counsellor job that doesn't really exist and doesn't really matter. But it means she's back in the school and Dawn's in the school and it kind of works.
Yes.
And she doesn't have to worry about bills anymore because she has clearly a high enough pay for her, like, 2 hours of work a week.
Absolutely. We will come to that. It's exactly like how and the show is quite good at this, actually, at realizing that sometimes it has made a mistake too far and try and address it. Like we talked about season 4, it wasn't working with them all hanging out in Giles's flat.
Yes, yeah.
And so the decision was taken to relocate to the magic shop.
Which was great, yeah.
Which was great. In season 6, the tolerance level, I think, of the audience for Buffy scraping by and having loads of finance issues, and the fact that the season 6 again feels really like dislocated. It doesn't have a central operative place. It still has the magic shop, but without Giles, that feels a bit hollow.
Yeah.
And then you're right, we rectify this in season 7 by grounding it back in the high school. That was the right decision.
Although they spend a lot of time in season 7 in Buffy's house.
Yeah.
Which is also not as great.
That space gets ruined for a different reason.
Yeah, which we'll get to. All right, why don't we talk about one of the more fun parts of season 6, which is Spike and Buffy.
Oh my god! I thought we were going to build to that because
no, I think that's next.
Okay, and okay. So we need to talk about Spuffy season 6, and then I feel like we should talk about Spuffy season 7 because it is different,
separate.
This is the aspect of season 6 that gives me some of the most enjoyment, and also makes me have the most anger,
the most frustration.
Yeah. And I have to separate out the two. So I love Spuffy.
Yeah.
They are my ship.
Yeah.
I want them. I think they have the best chemistry. I love their questionable love.
Yeah.
And that itself is going to be a problematic concept. I loved Angel as well. I really liked the relationship between him and Buffy, particularly in season 2, difficult though it becomes. It gets a bit tired in season 3, but we've talked about that. But I have so much time to watch the dynamic between James Masters and Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah.
And I love the complexity of his and her character playing off each other. They have a kind of framework of banter that Buffy and Angel just didn't really have.
No.
Theirs felt like this kind of truly romantic, almost puppy love.
Yes.
Spike and Buffy are funny, and they're sexy in a way that Angel and Buffy kind of weren't so much.
Yeah, they had Angel and Buffy were sexy in a kind of almost like a stereotype of what it was to be very attractive young people being in a relationship. Whereas, Spike and Buffy, they spark off each other, they have banter back and forth, and also they seem to actually enjoy being in each other's company, which I think we didn't get to see much of with Angel, because it was more this, as you say, epic romance, rather than this being they can just be friends a lot of the time.
Yes.
They just have a great time together.
Yes.
And that actually makes for a much more interesting relationship.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Angel was a lot of lurking in the shadows, a lot of appearing in Buffy's bedroom being something is rising.
Yeah, a bit Twilight-esque.
Yeah, a little bit Twilight-esque.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Very proto-Twilight. And then we get Spike and Buffy in season 6. The show has enough time to have them hanging out.
Yeah.
Drinking together.
Yeah.
Spike becomes the person Buffy wants to just go and have a chat with.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it. I think this is good writing.
Yeah.
And it builds the groundwork for, like you said, a much better relationship.
It actually feels like a much more realistic relationship.
Yeah.
An actual relationship you might see happen in normal life.
Yes.
Even though it's not perfect and it has some really it goes to some dark places, it does feel more real.
Yep. So if we really think about basically the first half of season 6, which is the build to them really getting into the kind of micro relationship that they have before it really takes a turn, that to me is the key narrative driver of why I keep watching season 6. I'm not that interested in the trio, who we'll come to. If I think why am I watching season 6? What is the sort of cliffhanger every episode where I think, give me more? It's Buffy and Spike almost kiss. Then they do kiss. Yeah. Then they kiss again. But then it's then they have sex. Yeah. And so I'm honestly watching most of season 6 to see the payoff from all the clever groundwork and writing that had been laid in season 5.
Yeah.
And I love that Buffy has to admit that she is attracted to Spike.
Yeah.
Which has been simmering through season 5.
Yeah.
And I love the complexity of it being someone who she hates herself for loving or fancying, whatever. And I love that Spike gets to be right. But he spent the whole time saying, like, Buffy, we have something. Like, Buffy, we have a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, we're into each other, aren't we?
But then it still keeps that sad season 6 tone when she just, like, she can't really even admit it to herself, and she feels bad about the fact that she sleeps with him, and she feels like she's doing it because she's punishing herself and all that, and you're like, oh, can't we just
enjoy it? So here's where I hate it.
Yeah.
You are so right. I like can't enjoy it properly. That's entirely right. I want the writing on Spuffy for season 6 to be like, it's like 70% correct for me and then 30% disastrous.
Do you think it's going back to that issue that we had with Buffy having sex with Angel, where it becomes a punishment, and that it's a pattern of like, the writers on Buffy cannot allow sex to just be like, or at least for Buffy, to just be enjoyable and fun and a good thing.
1000%.
Somehow it has to be a negative and it has to be punished in some way, and that kind of sucks.
Why have I never realised that before? And that is so true. Oh my god, it's so true, because Angel, that flips him into kind of Dark Angel or Angelus, and we get that whole narrative. Then the next time she sleeps with someone is at college, and it goes so wrong. It's just Parker who ghosts her for ages. We'll skip Riley. They seem to enjoy having sex for like 5 minutes,
fine.
and then it's just whatever. It is what it is. And then you're right, we finally get all the Spike stuff.
And they're passionate, like when they're having sex, like it's clearly
really
like
into
amazing.
It. Yeah.
And because it's amazing, she feels bad about it.
Yeah. And that's built into the script. Yeah. Like, as in how awesome it is. And then you're right, the punishment narrative. And I, like you, just want them to be enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
I do not want it to be, or at least I'm here for Buffy feeling a little bit bad about it, but not this bad about it.
Yeah, like it's reasonable to be like, no, Spike is a dangerous guy, and like I should be cautious around, you know, my feelings, and has he really changed and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, she really does take it as like, I'm only doing this because I'm punishing myself, which is sad.
and it can generate some really interesting stuff. Like, I'm here for a dynamic in which she initially doesn't tell her friends. Fine. Yeah. That's interesting. That's plausible.
And very realistic.
Very realistic. And I'm here for the slight embarrassment of things like there's that episode when Riley comes back. That's funny. And I'm here for the hilarity of when Giles finds out and laughs. She says, I've been sleeping with Spike, and Giles is like,
doesn't believe it.
But it's like, the best way to think about it is when there's versions of this done in a really enjoyable way elsewhere. Like, I love Damon and Elena. And that is someone getting together with someone who they shouldn't, and have spent a lot of the previous material hating. And I'm so here for it. Yeah. And I want that from Spuffy.
This is Vampire Diaries, in case anyone
sorry. I
just know who Damon and Elena are.
I just assume that people like the same stuff that we like. And I realised that Vampire Diaries is after Buffy chronologically. But this to me is one of those bad boy narratives that we like in books, in TV. Yeah. And it's not done right. Why?
They never allow it to be positive. Yeah.
There's so much good stuff. I'm here for their like fight/sex scene that demolishes the building. Yeah. I love that they continuously kind of beat each other up in a really weird way. But I also hate how Buffy not only punishes herself for sleeping with Spike, but also really demeans him a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
She is awful to him. Yeah. She uses him. She belittles him. She's not willing to accept the genuine depth of his feelings towards her.
And she's almost not willing to accept him as having real emotions. Because she feels like she can just say anything to him and it won't matter. Yeah. And she just feels like she can play with him however she wants in a positive or negative way.
I find it really patronising when she semi-breaks up with him and says, like, you know, I'm sorry, William. And I think, oh, shut up. Yeah. I don't like it. And I want them to be together. Yeah. Then I cannot forgive the writers who wrote Seeing Red. I'm not here for it. Yeah. I hate that. Do you feel that the season needed that?
No.
Why? Why is that there?
It's almost like the writers couldn't let Spike be an okay guy.
Yes, they couldn't. By the way, if anyone is going to find this hard to listen to, skip ahead, because this is a kind of sexual assault scene.
Yeah.
The only one in Buffy, I think, unless I am misremembering, or certainly in this, or certainly dealt with in this.
Two main characters who we have at least some sympathy for.
Yes. It is such a difficult watch. It's unforgivingly filmed. It's quite a long scene.
Yeah.
And I have so many problems with it. It doesn't fulfill a proper narrative function, or any function it does have could have been, something else could have been generated. So we need Spike and Buffy to not be together for a while, and Spike needs to go off and get a soul. That, if I was Spike, I would have been motivated to go off and get a soul purely for the reason that Buffy just isn't with me.
Yeah. And it almost feels like in real life, you could never come back from that, right? Mm-hmm. And yet we're asked to, because of supernatural reasons and this whole soul thing, we're asked to believe that the relationship can come back from it into season 7, which is not necessarily like a great thing to say.
No, that is it. The show puts itself in a real bind.
Yeah.
And complicates the whole Spuffy relationship from then on.
Yeah.
Because you're absolutely right. If we're going to have Spike assault Buffy, which is also deeply out of character for Spike, who has spent seasons and seasons saving everybody else's life, saving Dawn, looking after Joyce, like would die for Buffy.
He's always been a very like sexually aggressive guy, but like that's not equivalent to sexual assault.
No, exactly.
Like he's been with lots of girls and they're always doing weird things in dungeons, like whatever.
Yeah.
But that was always like in a consensual, if messy, relationship, not like I'm gonna take power away from you and assault you kind of way, which is a completely different line. And yet we're then asked to say that was Spike without a soul. Now he's got a soul.
We're prepared to sort of forgive him. It's so uncomfortable.
And
it's so uncomfortable. And it puts me as a viewer in a really difficult space, because I still want Buffy and Spike to be together.
Because you like Spike.
Because I like Spike. Yeah. Because I've watched, 4 seasons of Spike to this point, have bought into the character writing, empathise with Spike, buy his relationship with Buffy. Then there's this weird scriptural blip of this happening. And then season 7, you're right, tries to make us like root for their relationship again, which I'm half on board with, but then hate myself for.
Yeah,
so
it basically makes audiences fight with each other as well. I know that online it becomes like a real like issue, because there are people who are rightly like, no, he did a terrible, terrible thing that's unforgivable, and therefore
he's out.
Like, he's out. We should never want them to be together again. And there are other people who are like more like you, who are like, but he wouldn't have done that. Like, that's not his character. And like, but of course it is his character because they wrote it.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that wrote his character. So
I know.
It's just impossible.
So when we talk about season 7, my desire for Buffy and Spike to still be together, it's important for me to say, is predicated on me just pretending that Seeing Red doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I just have to like mentally exclude it.
Yeah.
And be like, I need to, because in the same way that a lot of season 7 kind of does, it almost thinks, oh God,
it has to forget it.
We've written ourselves into a hole. We need to pretend that
Otherwise,
that didn't happen.
they would have just had to have Spike not come back.
Yeah, he'd have had to have left the show.
Yeah.
That was the other direction it could have taken. It
could
have gone, that is something so bad that, you're right, he's out. Yeah. That's the end of Spike.
Yeah.
And to have like confusing introduced a last minute love interest for Buffy at the end, but that really wouldn't have worked.
All right, before we move into season 7 then, let's talk about the other dynamics in season 6. So before we get on to like Big Bad and Willow and all that, let's do quickly Xander and Anya.
Oh, what a mess, what a mess, what a mess. Oh, what a mess.
Because we liked them in season 5. Mm-hmm. They were like having a good time.
I was all about them in season 5.
Yeah.
I loved that both of their characters, and this is an example of the best possible thing about a relationship in real life, both of their quite difficult characters.
Yeah, kind of weird people.
Yeah. Are improved by each other.
Yes.
Xander allows Anya to kind of develop her humanity, and I mean that because she's literally not a human, and learn about social interaction, because she's like autistic coded, isn't she?
I suppose so, yeah.
Or she doesn't necessarily find social interaction easy because she's not a human.
Yeah.
But Xander sort of gives her the space to do that.
Yeah.
In a really loving and empathetic way. And Xander, who's fundamentally can be a real misogynistic dick, is improved by Anya, who gives him a bit more maturity, who gives him the space to kind of grow up a bit.
Yeah. But it is quite on brand of Xander to have proposed to Anya on the spur of the moment during an apocalypse, and then at the beginning of season 6, kind of feel a bit awkward about it and not want to tell any of his friends, and put Anya in a really uncomfortable situation where they're technically engaged, but does he actually really want to get married? And if he won't tell anyone, what does it even mean? And that is classic Xander.
It is classic. And it's also one of those things in a supernatural show that is very, very human.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we know this boy.
Yeah.
Or, this is such a classic move.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, Xander, no, please don't do that. Oh, God, that's going to be awful. And everything that's going to happen in season 6 is foreshadowed at the start. So whether it's the breakup of the Scoobies and all the fracturing, whether it's Willow's overuse of magic.
Yeah.
But it's right at the beginning that Xander is like, yeah, I don't think we should tell anyone yet. And I think they're not going to get married, are they? No. Like, this is red flag.
Red flag. Yeah.
Red flag.
And it is exactly like, they do eventually tell their friends, and they do plan a wedding, and they all seem excited about it. And yet Xander just can't go through with it.
Oh, it kills me. I find that storyline really aggravating. It makes me angry with Xander. I can't believe it goes as far as it does, which is to stage their wedding.
Their literal wedding day.
With, as I was chatting to you about earlier, the worst bridesmaid dresses I've ever seen in my life.
Was that like a time capsule thing, or were they bad at the time, do you think?
I can't tell when I watch it whether this is just like early 2000s fashion, but I'm convinced that it's not, because Buffy is such a stylish show.
Yeah.
Season 6 continues with like, Buffy looks hot in all, like, she's in great outfits. Yeah. She's in leather. She's looking good. Like she's got boat neck tees. She's looking great. The fact that she allowed Anya to put her in that green dress with the big flower, even Sarah Michelle Gellar could not recover it.
Maybe it's just
she looks atrocious.
To say something about Anya's bizarre outlook on life.
Maybe. But that whole wedding is a disaster, bridesmaid dresses aside. You're right, It doesn't happen, and we come away from that just hating Xander, who again I almost can't forgive in season 7. And
tragically, Anya goes back to being a vengeance demon.
Yeah.
In vengeance, basically.
Oh, and writerly script-based catastrophe number 2 of many.
Yeah.
Anya sleeps with Spike.
Oh, yeah.
Which I just hate.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it because, again, I love Spike and Buffy, and I want them to be together. And I have my brain can't cope with Anya and Spike. And that whole thing is messed up. It's a voyeuristic episode. They watch them on like CCTV.
Yeah.
Then there's that remarkably misogynistic speech from Xander to Anya, blaming her for sleeping with Spike. And she has to say, "You dumped me."
Yeah.
And somehow it's framed like Xander is right. Really, really uncomfortable to watch. So, yeah, that all goes wrong. And their relationship basically doesn't recover from it, really, in season 7, apart from right at the end.
Right at the end, yeah, no.
Yeah.
No.
That's them. Okay, then our other major ship, Terra and Willow.
Yeah.
Start season 6 in a happy place.
Well.
It was going well. It was going so well.
Yeah, so lovely.
I just want to pause their relationship in season 5 and be like, and that was the end.
I know.
And there it ended.
So this is like one of the classic Buffy storylines where they take a supernatural idea, but it's actually a real life story.
Yeah.
And it's about addiction. Mm-hmm. Whatever addiction, but it's heavily coded as like drug addiction, like very, very serious drug addiction. But they use Willow's addiction to magic to explore that theme and how it destroys her morals. She continues to do worse and worse things. But not only that, it destroys the relationships around her.
Yeah.
Because she's willing to push the boundaries and do bad things to kind of get what she needs and get what she wants to happen, she essentially ruins her personal relationships and then even further.
Yeah. And this is the example of the cocktail of season 6 being out of balance, because previously the Scoobies were happy enough with each other and so in sync as a gang that the show maintained some hope and joy because it had enough flexibility to have one of them having a terrible time.
Yes.
And it would be in balance with the fact that the others were there to support. So whether that was Willow losing Oz, or Buffy losing Joyce, or just any of the other micro tragedies that happened in that group, Giles losing Miss Calendar. These are different types of losing.
Yeah.
But there was normally enough of that gang who were quote unquote fine to pull the show back together and to maintain a kind of glue. But in season 6, we've got Buffy depressed.
Yeah.
We've got Spike doing whatever he's doing and all going wrong. We've got Dawn the kleptomaniac, also depressed and not really like getting the relationship she wants with Buffy. Giles gone.
Yeah.
Willow in this addiction cycle with magic.
Yeah.
Tara absent and then dead.
Yeah.
Who am I missing? Xander and Anya breaking up and having this disaster.
These things kind of all happen on the scale of like the whole season. So they're all going through it all the time.
Yes, that's it. So there's never really a conversation where that somebody who's having a hard time can talk to another and properly feel supported in a way that has been so cathartic to watch in all the other seasons.
They're all isolated in their own issues.
They're all isolated in their own issues, and it's terrible to watch. It's painful. But it does mean the breakdown of Willow and Tara's relationship, which is so sad because we've enjoyed them so much. And they as well seem to have, in terms of how it was written, a beautiful relationship that was based on friendship, based on real shared interests, who really got each other. And to watch it collapse because of addiction is, I think, brilliantly written. A really nice, intelligent idea for the show, but frickin' terrible for fans to watch. Yeah. Very upsetting. Yeah. And then to just have them get kind of back on the same page and back together, and then you're gonna kill her?
I know.
It feels Game of Thrones. It feels not fair.
Have you heard of the trope called bury your gays?
Is it the one about putting someone in the fridge? Where it's like,
that's a different one. Okay. That's about women. But this is about, it's very, very common. And this is often given as the quintessential example of it. Very, very commonly in shows and movies that gay relationships are just never allowed to just be. They're never allowed to succeed. And that, like, at some point, the showrunners decide, well, the best way to end this relationship is to have a huge tragedy and one of them has to die. And it's like, because we can't just like allow this to happen or allow it to end in like a normal way. We have to have some like massive tragedy, and it's like a trope that happens over and over again. Willow is sadly given as like it's one of the quintessential examples, and they're never allowed to like just have a happy ending.
And I also don't like that, just as an extension of that, Tara's death is not really allowed to be tragic in its own right. It is used as a plot point to facilitate Willow's
going mad.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that couldn't still be allowed to happen, but I'm like, can we just grieve for Tara a bit more?
Yeah, who was a really like lovely character.
Like a really central character. And even in Series 7, anything that feels like a callback to her feels really quick. There's like a brief visit to a graveyard.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, this has been the first proper death of a Scooby on this show.
Yeah.
This is the death of Willow's like soulmate.
Yeah, and a character who would become very meaningful to a lot of the audience as well.
Yep. Yeah. So you're spot on. Yeah. She gets buried.
She gets buried.
Awful. Yeah. And what do you think of what Dark Willow?
I mean, aesthetically, I like witchiness. I kind of do like the storyline of Willow going evil and it being about emotion and power and her own selfishness of wanting to like continue this powerful thing, but also being overcome by like a tragic event. And it's all quite dramatic and visually, you know, her dark eyes and all that stuff. Like, I like that as a storyline. But as you say, like, it along with everything else that has been going on in this season, it is still super depressing.
Yeah.
But yeah, as like an ending, I felt it was quite cathartic at the end when Xander comes and like essentially like talks her down and kind of saves her. It was nice to see Xander and Willow have a relationship moment because we haven't seen that in ages. But like at the beginning, they were like best friends.
Yeah.
And so it's really nice.
They were together like romantically for a while.
Yeah. So it was actually really nice to see that callback and to have it be Xander, who kind of who brings her back essentially. Yeah. I think in aggregate, I think it's an interesting storyline and I do like it.
I like Dark Willow as well. I like it because it feels in season 6 that we need it.
Yeah.
Because, and actually we can chat about them next, I'm not satisfied with the trio as villains for season 6. They don't deserve to be the sort of finale showdown.
They're not a big bad.
Whereas I like when Buffy has to fight someone who you feel is seriously a contender.
Yeah.
Like we've spoken before about, I like Buffy versus Glory.
Yes.
I like, and this is comparable, Buffy versus Faith. And Dark Willow, you feel, is an actual adversary for Buffy.
Yeah.
But it carries the interest of Buffy versus Faith because this is someone with whom she's had years and years worth of a relationship. And so their kind of fight sequence in the magic shop is so much more charged because you think, oh my God, I don't know whose side I'm supposed to be on.
Not these two. And it allows the scriptwriters to give Willow some material to voice that she has not enjoyed being the sidekick. She has not enjoyed feeling like she's been second to Buffy's kind of self-absorbed sexy slayer. Yeah.
And she says some stuff where I think, fair.
Yeah, totally. And Willow has become as powerful, if not more powerful than Buffy. And that's like, that's kind of fun.
Yes, but I'm glad that that storyline doesn't end with the death of Willow and that she is, by the show, allowed to return and recover much in the same way that Angelus wasn't the end of Angel.
Yeah.
He was able to come back, return, recover. So I'm here for that.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the trio?
Yeah, quickly. Oh, God. This is the one place where season 6 tries to be lighthearted. It's with the villains.
Well, at the start, though, because then it really takes a turn.
Yeah, true. But, like, they are nerdy, they're silly, their, like, plots are often rubbish.
Yeah.
And that is where we're meant to get our lightheartedness from. But it's just, like, quite incongruous with everything else that's so deep.
Yeah.
And, as you say, that because they're not meaningfully powerful, interesting villains, it doesn't quite work.
No. They are... So the trio is a group of nerds. Andrew, Warren... And what's the other one?
Jonathan.
And Jonathan,
they're all characters we've seen in previous seasons, often like individually.
Yeah.
That they've each done something weird that's like messed things up in the past.
Yeah. And at the beginning, when it's a bit more lighthearted, it feels a little bit like a crossover between like Big Bang Theory and Buffy.
Yeah.
Like it's the entry of these sort of like
Proper
science
nerds.
geeks, these nerds into the Buffy universe. And what doesn't work for me in terms of plotting is that they seem randomly to be quite good at magic and to have all these like genuine power capabilities. And I'm such a nerd that I want to understand how and why they possess these. But the story just isn't interested in going there.
They tend to like ask for help from various demons and stuff, don't they? But...
I know. And I like at the beginning when their sense of threat hasn't really culminated too much. I like their banter. I'm deeply nerdy, so I'm so here for like, they've got loads of Star Wars references.
Yeah.
They love Doctor Who.
Yeah.
They like, there's loads of stuff in there where I'm like, this is good writing. Like, this is funny. But then having watched Buffy for the, 20, almost 30 years that it's now been on TV, this storyline, when I rewatched it recently, is really difficult to watch now because now it's about misogynistic, it's about incels and about these people who are really threatening in society. They fundamentally hate women. And the direction the trio then takes becomes terrifying. They kill Warren's ex-girlfriend. A lot of their magic is about taking over women's minds and sexually abusing them.
Warren.
Particularly from
the
Warren.
other two mostly are just tagging along.
Yeah, and they play out that dynamic that Warren is peer pressuring,
yes,
if you will.
You're exactly right that Warren is an example of that incel culture that's become much more relevant today.
Yeah. I watch it and sometimes forget that this really predates the kind of cultural discussion of this, because it feels so prophetic almost for where we've got to.
That this stuff has always been there,
yeah,
and we just didn't pay attention.
Yeah, but it's a really hard watch.
Yeah.
So they as baddies start funny and end horribly.
I mean, literally end
horribly.
In the Willow, like, flays Warren to death.
Yep, that's right. Whereas Andrew is preserved, and we will return to him in season 7. So is there anything else in season... Oh, surely we have to talk about Once More With Feeling. Before we move off of season 6. And we were chatting earlier, you and I, about the fact that season 6 we are not huge fans of in general, but there are, when you go through it, some genius episodes in there.
Yeah.
We talked about Tabula Rasa, when they Buffy and her friends briefly have their minds kind of wiped by Willow, and that's quite funny. But the other one is this one, is Once More With Feeling,
which is the musical episode.
Oh my god, I love it so much.
Is it like one of the earliest examples of a proper musical episode on a TV show? Because I feel like lots of TV shows do it now, but like this is one of the earliest ones that I ever remember.
I think so.
Existing.
And I just love it so much.
It's so great.
It's as if Buffy wasn't already full of basically everything I like. Then they bring in a musical episode and I'm like, oh, this is so
catchy.
It's the music in it is genuinely good.
Yeah.
I was one of those people that had and still has like the CD soundtrack to the episode. Like Walk Through the Fire and all of these tunes are like genuinely epic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some of the people in it can actually sing. Some cannot. But like Anthony Stewart Head was in musicals.
Yeah.
So there's like
he's always there with his guitar. Like
yeah. And there's like some briefly embarrassing moments when they're all having to sing, where it gets to the bit where it's Anthony Stewart Head, and you think, oh wait, that guy can actually sing. Hang on. Everyone else is sort of speak singing.
Yeah.
James Masters can sing too. He's toning it down for this. But it's just everything about it I love. The writing is funny. The music is genuinely great. It moves the plot along because it's when Buffy reveals that she was happy in heaven. Spike and Buffy kiss at the end is perfect.
It is a big episode. And we've said before that like we really quite like some of the really high concept episodes in Buffy. And this is one of those.
This is one of those.
Really high up.
It's Dawn being a moron again. And it has some genuinely... it has so many funny and irreverent bits. Even down to... They got the mustard out. Anyway, I love it. I would watch that one in isolation over and over again.
But it is still quite depressing.
It is still
It does still end, as you say, with Buffy revealing to the group that she would have rather have stayed in heaven, which is like a big depressing point.
Yep, absolutely. And in many ways, like musicals, the suggestion is that emotional boulder would almost be too difficult to write into dialogue, so they write it into song.
Yeah, true.
You know, we always talk about musicals are musicals because they deal with things like high octane emotions.
Yeah, the big emotions need music.
That are like bigger than speech.
Yeah.
So this is that.
Yeah, that's true.
And I adore it. And then we get season 7. Shall we go there?
We'll go there. We might not spend quite as long talking about it.
But can I contextualise it for... Do you know... It's not the worst.
It's not the worst.
We are yet to do a Game of Thrones discussion. But I just want to bury the last season of Game of Thrones so deep in the ground and have them refilm it. I want it recommissioned. I'm angry about
3 seasons rather than 1.
I'm just cross about it still to this day. And there are also other shows that we have talked about and that we love. Things like The OC, where like season 4 just was no good in comparison to the others. Season 7 of Buffy doesn't feel like it falls off a cliff in so obvious a way.
Maybe not, but I did find myself bored.
It is weak.
And that is not good.
No, you're right. It's weak. It's still dark.
I found myself not that fussed about watching more. It took me ages to watch it compared to the other seasons, rewatching it. I'm not 100% sure whether the first time round I ever finished it because I didn't remember half of it.
Yeah.
it just was a bit tedious, and that is not a good review.
Let's talk about what is good in it.
Yeah.
And then we'll go through what's bad. Okay, Madam, what did you like in season 7? Because I feel like I'm going to have more on my list. You were bored, but when were you not bored?
I guess there was plenty of Spike history and Spike like relationship kind of emotion, which is always good fun.
Mm-hmm.
We got more flashbacks with Spike, which I quite like.
I enjoy those too.
But
you see what a difficult place that puts you in as a viewer.
Yeah.
You're like, I want to watch Spike.
Yeah,
He's the interesting person in a boring season.
It's true.
But he's also a potential rapist. Very difficult.
Yeah.
This is awful.
What else was good? I like... You need to remind me of the things you like.
I've got some.
Because I'm like...
Okay.
I'm sure there are, but...
Buffy's hair is on point.
Okay.
Side note, but she's got some real good highlights going on. She looks fierce. Her hair is awesome. However, sorry, just while I'm on the aesthetics of Buffy's styling and wardrobe and hair and makeup, her hair is on point. But oh my god, her wardrobe takes a turn. And I don't like the fact that when she's taking on this new role, which is like officially Buffy as an adult now, she's not only kind of Dawn's legal guardian, but as you said, she goes into the high school as the kind of counselor. Yeah. And there are a bunch of times when Buffy, my fun, cool Buffy slayer, is literally wearing workwear.
Yeah.
She's wearing like tailored pants. She's wearing like there's lots of like blouses.
Floral blouses, yeah, I was thinking about floral blouses.
I don't want Buffy in blouses.
No.
What is this? When she gives her big epic speech near the finale about sharing our Slayer power and this woman is more powerful than anybody, she talks about Willow and that we're all going to be chosen. And it's that montage. She is wearing workwear and I hate it. Where are the red leather trousers and ankle boots from? So why have I gone into something I don't like? What was I saying? I like Buffy's hair.
I've got something that I can say that I do like. I think, again, as always, there are individual concept episodes that are good.
Yes.
Like interesting ideas. So, starting off with Willow comes back from some kind of a witch rehabilitation and she is invisible to the gang and the gang are invisible to her. And this, like, that's a classic, like, old school Buffy idea.
Yeah, and it works.
And it works really, really well. There's a classic monster that's quite gory and gruesome, but, like, it kind of, that episode right in the beginning actually really reminded me of earlier seasons. I really like that, and explores, like, their relationships through the idea that she's invisible now and they can't see her and she can't see them.
You know, season 7, I got to say, starts strong.
Yeah.
It's got a strong start.
And then we were talking earlier about the one where there's
Cassie.
The girl, who's having premonitions that she's going to die, and Buffy like tries again and again and again to save her and can't. And that one's really good. So I think there are like individual interesting episodes.
That one's clever structurally because Cassie foreshadows more of the plot. It's heavily hinted at that she is aware that, and especially because I'm listening out for this, that Buffy is going to say that she loves Spike. Yeah. And because that's what I'm watching for, I'm like, oh my god, oh my god. And the actress who plays Cassie is really good.
Yeah.
That episode is clever. I love the showdown with the Uber Vamp, where all the potentials are brought to watch Buffy kill the Uber Vamp.
But this is all quite near the beginning of the series.
You're right. It starts... Yeah, it starts strong.
It's all in the first half.
I feel a sense of gratification that we're back at the high school.
Yes, I think you're right. And we said that earlier, that like that grounds us in a place.
Yeah. So there are a lot of these good things. All right, let's talk about the other thing that I'm obviously nuts about, which is Spuffy and how that's dealt with in season 7. That's actually something I don't like at the start. I don't like how long it takes to recover Spike as a character. And obviously we need to do that because, as we were saying, we've written Seeing Red, so that disaster has happened. But also, actually, rather than being entirely tortured about those actions, we have Spike in a deeply disturbed space because he's now got a soul. He's basically mad at the start.
Yeah, he's got some kind of, like, I don't know, he's basically gone crazy, PTSD, shriveled in a corner.
Yeah,
like, can't look after himself.
He's almost doing
to himself.
He's almost doing a bit of like Edgar in King Lear. He's muttering nonsense. He's scurrying around under the school. He's hiding, and I'm like, I don't like this. No. Could we have Spike back in the gang, please.
Well, also that isn't necessarily a realistic depiction. Like that feels like we made him do something really bad, so we've got to make him torture himself now. So he's got to be the worst that could possibly be in order to then like recover eventually, rather than being like, okay, how would someone actually deal with and process terrible things that they've done in their life?
Yeah.
We don't ever see that.
Yeah. Then I like the realism around the middle of the series about the fact that you have two people who were really drawn to each other who are still really drawn to each other. Again, I'm ignoring seeing red because I just can't get the writers out of that black hole. And Giles gives voice to it and says, you know, you rely on each other. He needs you and you need him. You have this connection that everybody else seems to not be able to break through. Culminating in, again, you start to see the seeds of sort of, I say, of romance blossoming between them. Spike has never not loved Buffy. But he continues to stick up for her in a way that I, the viewer, really enjoy. I love his speech when the stupid potentials and everyone, and the Scoobies, have kicked her out of the house.
Yeah.
And it has to be Spike who reminds everybody that Buffy has saved them over and over and over again. And does she not deserve a little bit of effing respect? I mean, come on. And then we have their wonderful moment, the kind of culmination of Spuffy, of him, and James Masters does it so well, him giving that very long speech to her about how she is the one with the power. Yeah. She's a hell of a woman. And that he loves her.
Yeah.
And they simply sort of hold each other.
They just exist together.
Yeah. And it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
And they have that conversation the next day where he says, were you really there with me? Like, are we on the same page, basically? Do you feel it? Because I feel it. And she says, yes. And I think, oh, thank God.
Well, he actually, at first,
thank God.
He kind of says no. He says, like, he tries to say, oh, like, let's not worry about it. Like, you know, he tries to let her have an out, but then he can't. He loves her too much. He brings it back, and he has to like, ask.
But we can't move past that without talking about the reappearance of Angel.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? So this is the end of, like, this is kind of the big. Okay,
is it Buffy?
Is it Angel? Is it Spike? How's this going to work?
It couldn't have been Angel. Like, he came back. It's been seasons and seasons, and they do kiss. But immediately it's like a kiss that you know is nothing else other than a kiss.
I actually hate it.
Do you?
I hate it because I love Spuffy by this point. Like, don't get me wrong, I had all the time in the world for Angel in season 2, season 3. Like, I always enjoyed the episodes where he kind of showed back up in like season 4. But now it is not your time, Angel. No. Get out.
Yeah.
I want Spike and Buffy to properly have an end to this whole narrative. And I don't mind him showing up for some of the comedy. Like, I love that Spike makes a little cartoon face of him on a punching bag with his funny hair. I don't know if you remember that, but he draws a cartoon of Angel's face and punches it.
But do you think they brought him back simply because they had to answer the question of Angel or Spike to the audience?
I think you just couldn't end Buffy without a callback to Angel.
Yeah.
He's like too central a character. And of course we know he still exists because we've got Angel running in tandem, the show.
Yes.
I think he had to come back. And I like some of what he's used for. Like, I like his kind of schoolboy jealousy towards Spike. I like Spike's jealousy towards him. But I don't like that it is not clear as day from Buffy that she's currently in Spike mode.
But she does say it eventually.
Yeah, she says he's in my heart. And she does sort of admit to Angel, this is where I'm, like, I'm Spike and I have, quote unquote, some kind of thing at the moment. But just as a viewer, I'm still just not loving it. I still want the big end of this to be Buffy and Spike. So yeah. And then of course we have the end of Buffy and Spike.
Before we get to the end.
Okay.
That quickly, you mentioned Angel, the TV show. We've never really talked on the pod about Angel, the TV show.
No.
Because we didn't really watch it.
Nope.
And it is interesting that at a crucial moment in the end of Buffy, it relies on calling back to this other TV show that they're kind of assuming that you're watching in tandem. And there's like this amulet of champions, whatever thing, is clearly from the other show. And it suddenly appears, and we're suddenly expected to like care about it.
That deeply irks me, because I'm so interested in clever writing, in supernatural concepts, in like high plotting, that I hate the quick shoehorning in of like a magical this, a special axe, a magical amulet. I'm like, could we have thought about this maybe a little bit more?
Yeah.
So I also don't like that you have to have basically been watching a different show, which was at this point running on a different network, because Angel was still on WB, in order to understand this. So no, I don't like that. Okay, so anything else that we do like in season 7? Quick.
No, let's go back and
I have one tiny one. I actually don't mind Andrew, who a lot of people hate.
Okay.
But I love thinking about 1 or 2 episodes that for me really pull this season back from the brink. I love the one where he's got the video camera.
The video camera one, yeah.
I think that is such a funny concept. I think it's intelligently done. I think it leaves lots of scope for some brilliant character work. That as we move towards the end of Buffy, it's a really clever device for wrapping up some of the smaller, more intimate character relationships.
It was a bit of a break as well.
It was a bit of a break. Yeah, you're right. You think, oh, thank God, what a relief. All right, let's rubbish it. What sucks about season 7? So much. So much.
The problem is, the whole concept of the season is that the potential slayers are all being gathered and they all need to train together, and like the ultimate evil wants to kill them all, and we have to bring them all to Sunnydale to like keep them safe and also train them as an army. And ultimately it's really annoying having 20, 30 extra girls hanging around Buffy's house, and they basically like murder any scene that they're all in, because you can never have a scene with the characters that you know and love anymore. There's always got to be a whole load of extra girls that have terrible accents most of the time and like contribute nothing.
Oh boy. This, yeah. As a reminder to anyone who is listening to this podcast who like vaguely remembers 6 and 7 but would like a bit of a reminder, the big bad of season 7, which actually isn't a terrible concept.
No, it's fine.
Is the first.
Yeah.
This ultimate evil.
The first evil.
The first evil, and it's Buffy trying to invent the biggest bad.
Yeah, you got to make the big bad bigger and badder every season. Yeah. So last season it's the ultimate, the first evil.
And this idea that the first can inhabit the bodies of sort of dead people, it can pretend to be others.
Yeah.
Is quite clever. Actually, they can be dead or alive. And that is...
No, they have to be dead.
Oh, they have to be dead?
Yeah.
But the first impersonates Buffy. Oh, yeah, of course, because Buffy's dead. You're totally right. Yep, sorry, you're right. It's a clever concept. Yeah. That's good. And the idea is that the first and the first's minions, the bringers, are tasked with trying to cut off the line of the Slayer.
Yeah.
The idea being that when one Slayer dies, another is called. But that means there is a sort of invisible sequence of potential Slayers that exist in the world, and the first is trying to murder any of those that could potentially be a Slayer.
Yeah.
Hence they're being called the Potentials. And so the concept of season 7 is that all of the potential Slayers, in order to keep them safe, are, as you said, gathered together and forced to be in one giant sleepover at Buffy's house.
It's just so many people in that house.
It's so many people in that house. And it is a good cocktail gone wrong.
Yeah.
I think there's things about the first that are clever. I think the concept about trying to end the line of the Slayer is clever. But you could have had that through individual bits in episodes, a little bit like how season 7 starts, where you see 1 or 2 girls getting kind of killed by the first and the bringers. And so this could have been a recurrent theme, but you didn't need to take 20 of them, give them lines, and put them in Buffy's house.
It also makes no sense that they're all like the same age, and like I mean the concept of the Slayer and the lore around it has always been a little bit dodgy, right? Like the idea that there's one Slayer in the whole world, like, is always a bit weird, right? And that she can only ever be in one place at a time. Like, why don't the demons just go somewhere else?
Yeah.
But no.
You do think there should maybe at least be like one per continent?
Yeah, like one per continent would be great. Fine. But no. But yet now there are like Considering how many of them die and how many of them are in the house and how many of them fight in the end, I reckon there's like up to like 40 or 50.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all 16, 17?
No, there are, and then there are shown to be more. See, this is the bad writing. In the speech
and then
where
there's suddenly like hundreds more.
there's these little girls
yeah.
who are shown to be. That's quite a nice montage if you're willing to just suspend disbelief over the terribleness of the narrative plot lines.
Yeah.
There are all these other little girls who are shown to be potential slayers.
Why don't they need saving?
Exactly. There's just so many narrative kind of holes.
But actually, it's less about the narrative holes and more about the fact that every scene where anything interesting is happening and characters could be having interesting interactions is interrupted by annoying girls in annoying voices, who we don't know anything about, interrupting and being like, I don't know about blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And they all have to be from like different parts of the world, but they're actually all American.
Mm-hmm.
And they there's a couple of them that try to do English accents.
I know.
It's like they're in Oliver.
It's terrible.
It's unbelievable.
It's so unbelievable. It could have been one concept episode.
Yes.
By all means, have all these girls invade the Summers residence. And actually it could have been funny.
Yeah.
And that they're all fighting over the bathroom. There'll be funny stuff with the male characters that suddenly it's this sort of estrogenic onslaught. It could have been funny.
Yeah.
And not even just funny. There was potential for things that I love, like training sequences.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of that. But contain it. Whereas it overspills, and like you said, it just infects these other episodes. And what I wanted from season 7 was, if you give me this really poisoned season 6, and you want me to buy into the fact that you are going to fracture the Scoobies, and everybody is going to be in a place where they really need to have a difficult conversation with each other, give me season 7 of recovery. Yeah. I want episode after episode of Xander and Anya trying to recover that. I want to see Giles repair his relationship with the Scoobies. I want endless chats between Willow and Buffy repairing their friendship. None of those people almost barely speak to each other.
No.
Because you're quite right, they're busy trying to police
all these girls
where the actors are not from the country that they are pretending to voice.
Well, the worst one is the Asian girl that is a recurring joke.
Oh, it's so racist.
That she just doesn't understand English, and so she keeps saying things in an Asian language.
It's terrible.
And it's just like a joke that she's just saying random words.
There is really, really inappropriate writing in there that I do not think would have been allowed to get screened. And it's just not good at all. But it is fundamentally... it fractures, again, even more, the group that we bought into being interested in Buffy in the first place.
And just in general, when you're shooting a scene, having 3 or 4 interesting characters in a room is better than 12.
I agree.
Where 8 of them are irrelevant.
Yep. It forces season 7 into, as you said, these god-awful group scenes. Where
they're all sitting on all the sofas
oh my god,
interjecting and
and characters are forced to do these little micro speeches to the group. It feels like, in fact, you know what it feels like? It feels like why I was relieved to get Buffy out of college.
Yes.
When Buffy was briefly at college, there was scope for people like Parker, like her annoying roommate, apart from the fact that college gave us terror. I really wasn't here for Buffy being at college. There was too many other people.
Yeah.
I just want the Scoobies. It somehow worked when she was at high school.
Yeah.
But this is the worst balance of Buffy and the gang and other people.
Yeah.
I do like when Faith comes back.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
I do like that. And it gives Principal Wood something or someone to do. Yes. That was just what was the point of his character?
I could tell right from the beginning that he was going to be something. He wasn't just going to be the principal of the school, right? We've had before principals and people in positions of power actually be one of the big bads or be, something. So it was clearly obvious that he was going to be something. I thought there was some interest in his vendetta against Spike, but we've had people be against Spike before.
Yeah.
And... although, I did kind of like it. It frustrated me particularly when Giles got on his side against Spike, because that was quite near the end of the season, or at least 2/3 of the way through.
Yeah.
And it just basically meant that we ended the season with Giles and Buffy didn't make up.
No. And again, it puts the viewer, and we're just going to sound like a stuck record, it puts the viewer in such a difficult position because I don't want Principal Wood to kill Spike.
No.
But I also am not comfortable with the fact that this poor guy has lost his mum.
Yeah.
He's got reasons.
Yeah.
And he's right.
Yeah.
But that I still fundamentally want to root for Spike, but I also don't for all the reasons we've previously mentioned. So that whole really interesting coming to a head of all these different kind of vengeance narratives it sort of makes me feel like I've got whiplash watching it.
Yeah, and Giles has hated Spike in previous seasons. And like, I thought we'd kind of done that.
The whole Giles dynamic, and this is something we have only ever slightly addressed, you and I have really credited the show that it never cheapens itself for 1 second by suggesting any kind of sexual interest between Giles and Buffy.
Yeah,
which I'm glad it never does.
Yeah.
It could have done.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. It really, really protects that. But if you look at it, Giles is never okay with any of Buffy's relationships. Ever. He's absolutely not okay with Angel. Or it has to really be forced. Kind of.
Yeah.
And the Doctor, he tries to kill Angel. And it's because of Miss Calendar, but still. He is worried about what bringing Riley into the group will do in terms of sharing information, everything. He's always nervous. And he has hated Spike for
the whole time.
For the whole time.
It maybe is trying to be this like protective dad kind of storyline. But again, it's feeding into the whole like, she's a pure girl and we need to protect her and she shouldn't have relationships. She shouldn't have a good time. I am the father figure and I'm going to protect this young virginal girl who's obviously not that, but
no,
it is a bit of that again.
Yeah, and it unbalances some of the best writing for Giles ever, which we referred to in season 2 when Buffy admits to Giles that she has slept with Angel. And you think the writing could do that. We could castigate Buffy. This is meant to be the kind of parental figure. And Giles says to her, if you're looking for judgment, Buffy, you're not going to get it from me. And Giles is supportive.
Yeah.
And we never really get back to that.
Yeah.
And I think, damn, that was really good.
Yeah.
So, no. And I don't like that their relationship doesn't recover.
It doesn't.
I love Giles and Buffy.
Literally, like, Buffy basically says to him, like, I'm not going to forgive you for trying to kill Spike. And she doesn't. And they kind of, like, in the last episode, like, they're hanging out together. But apart from that, no. The other thing that is basically unforgivable about this season is the build up to the end and the fact that all of her friends, including Giles, Willow, Xander, like Faith, fair enough, the girls, I don't care, but all of them, for seemingly no reason, plot-wise, like in terms of build up, just decide that Buffy is no longer a good leader. She comes up with one idea that they don't like, which is like going back into the vineyard to find the priest guy. By the way, priest guy is Nathan Fillion, who's in all sorts of other nerdy things that I love. Anyway, they all just suddenly, and I guess it's because we need some kind of, I don't know, extra drama, but it makes no sense for any of them to do this, but they all turn against Buffy in the last few episodes and decide that, like, Faith's going to lead them or they're going to have some kind of democracy. And I can understand, like, it could be interesting, but there's no justification for it. If she'd spent, like, episodes and episodes of, like really antagonizing them or something, maybe it could have been built to, but it just made no sense.
No, I hate it. I also hate it.
Like, Willow in particular, I'm like, where has this come from?
Where has this come from? It, like Seeing Red, it feels like something that was unnecessary and is not in keeping with the characters.
Yeah.
And goes against things like, again, much better writing in season 3 was when Giles briefly betrayed Buffy to have her do the test on her 18th birthday and poisoned her and made her go into that horrible kind of demon's lair for the council.
Yeah.
And he beat himself up over it.
Yeah.
And it was brilliantly written. And you really thought, wow, this is a breakdown of trust And Giles, it's hurting him to his very core to betray Buffy. Here we are in season 7, and he's like, yep, you're out. And you think, what?
Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense.
It makes absolutely no sense, other than as a plot device to allow Spike to go and have a kind of offstage discussion with Buffy. But you could have written that some other way. Yeah. I hate it.
Yeah. I just thought of another thing that I don't like about the season.
There's so many, yeah.
Which is its casual, almost disregard for life in a way that we haven't seen before. In that these
and the body
girls,
count is high, by the way.
The body count is really high. These girls are dying left, right, and centre. Often at the beginning of episodes, one's coming into town and gets, like, offed by something or someone. And, like, Eve... And like, Buffy is not affected by it.
Yeah.
Like, she's kind of affected by it, but she's almost been, like, so hardened by it. Like, the one that really, like, I couldn't quite cope with almost was the first... comes to one of the girls in the house and makes her commit suicide.
Yeah.
And in Buffy's own house, this young girl has, like, hanged herself.
It's terrible.
And it's like, this is an extremely serious thing, and yet we're just going to have it over and over again. And it just, like, wears away to the point where you're like, why is this so draining?
Yes.
Like, I don't need all of this.
Yeah. It also makes me feel like we discussed about Fourth Wing. If anyone wants to go back to that episode, you and I said there is this enormous cast of additional characters, but we're not quite sure whose name to learn and how invested we should be, because 2 seconds later, they die in succession. And with the potentials, I feel that way. I'm almost forced to tune them out, which is why we find them so frustrating, because they're used as fodder. Like you said, they die on repeat. So you think, am I investing in these people, or am I just going to ignore them? If I'm being asked to ignore them, I want them gone.
Yeah, and there's too many of them to even care anyway.
Absolutely.
Okay,
right, let's talk about the end. Oh, no, go on.
I was going to one more thing before we talk about the end is quickly Willow's relationship with one of the girls.
Hate it.
What's her name?
Kennedy.
Hate it. Hate it.
Do you like it?
No, but I can see how it could have worked.
But it doesn't.
Yeah, but it doesn't. And it's because of that disregard for Tara from the previous season that, like, it means it doesn't work. But I can see how a kind of redemptive, like, I genuinely grieved this beautiful first relationship and then managed to find solace in someone that I'm spending a lot of time with could work.
But it's not properly done.
But it's rushed.
Yeah. When I say I hate it, it's because of that.
Yeah.
It's because it doesn't work. And I also find Kennedy really frustrating to watch. I don't like her. And because I know that we're at the 11th hour, because I know this is the last series, I don't quite have the emotional bandwidth to invest in another relationship. A new person for our very, very significant character.
Yeah.
And to me, it's a distraction from the relationship I want to see recovered in season 7 is Willow and Buffy. Or Willow and Giles.
Yes.
Like, give me them. I don't need Kennedy. Yeah. I want Willow. I want more of Willow and Xander.
Yeah.
Like, I want our Scoobies to be talking to each other rather than talking to Andrew, talking to the potentials, talking to Principal Wood.
Yeah.
Like, the cast of secondary characters in this could have been halved and the show would have been better for it. I want some of our Scoobies to welcome Spike properly, despite what it's too hard to talk about.
And the one relationship, however, that does get a slight kind of conclusion that's quite nice is Xander and Anya.
Yeah,
who they sleep together again because they know they're still attracted to each other, but they both also realise that that's the end.
Yeah,
and that is actually quite a nice and satisfying conclusion.
Yes. So as we move towards the end, shall we talk about how you and I would have ended it? Like, what do you want to happen?
That's a difficult question. I think as you just have been mentioning, what we needed was a recovery of the group.
Yes.
We needed the group to end firmly, like, trusting each other and loving each other. And that needed time and it needed space that it just wasn't given.
Yeah.
So that then when they do defeat, the ultimate evil... we can then see them going off and, being a strong group of friends that love each other and are going to go and have fun and haven't, like, that's what you want for them.
Mm-hmm.
And they try and do it, but they do it in, like, the last 5 frames of the last episode.
It's too little too late. That is the overarching thing I want from season 7.
Yeah.
I want this group to recover.
Yeah.
And I want it to get back to a dynamic. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. I'm not asking to go back to the 90s, but I want them to rediscover the joy in each other and the power of working together. And that was what was so good about the early seasons, about integrating Willow's magic, about integrating some of the usefulness of Xander, about recognizing Giles and his books and his research being useful.
Yeah.
And you're quite right. It ends on that last frame of them all standing together.
Yeah.
And when it ends, I think, I'm not sure these people are going to call each other the next day.
No.
I'm not sure these guys are going to go for coffee anymore. Like, this feels like we're not... unlike the last frame after season 3 when the high school has been destroyed and you have the sense that everyone's going to go possibly some of their different ways for college, but you also think, no, this is going to be a group that is too tightly bonded to be broken. We're not left with that feeling at the end of season 7, and that upsets me.
Yeah, that is the biggest problem. And I think it's almost like they want to give us that feeling without earning it.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I would have, in order to make it properly satisfying, because I'm not saying I want it to be absent of tragedy.
No.
So, controversially, I wonder what you think about this. I would have killed Giles.
Ooh.
Yeah, I would have wanted Buffy and Giles' relationship to recover. I would have wanted that to be half the season. By all means, make it difficult. So let's have them in a bad place for half of the season, and then let's properly have Giles and Buffy rediscover, because they're so important, they're so essential, they're almost my favourite relationship of the show without it being a romantic relationship. I want it to get to a point where we're back to that pseudo father and daughter relationship, and then I want the show to take Giles away from us.
I mean, that would have been very sad.
And that would have been properly sad.
Yeah.
And that would have been a really beautiful end to Giles, who has spent years and years and years trying to preserve and keep Buffy alive, to have him die.
Yeah.
In service of the greater good, sure, like have him sacrifice himself and do something incredibly noble. Because otherwise, I'm again thinking like, okay, so what is Giles going to go back to England again? You know, at the end, I just think like, what's going to happen to Giles next?
Yeah.
I would have killed Giles rather than we have the death of Anya.
And the death of Anya is like mildly sad.
Yeah.
Like, Xander doesn't seem that sad about it.
No.
And like he just like asks Andrew, oh, what happened to Anya? And he's like, she tried to save me and then she died.
I know.
That's like it.
And again, like Tara, she's not given proper... Her death is not properly treated.
No, and it's almost like... It sounds bad, but it's almost like it's an easy person to kill.
Yeah, I agree. It's lazy.
Because, like, you don't have a... If it was like Willow or Xander or Giles, those are like the original people. If you kill them, you have to deal with the consequences of it. Whereas killing Anya, you don't have to.
I'm going to borrow from what I was just saying as the much maligned final season of Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah.
And take the one thing that I like from there and transpose it into Buffy and wish it was there.
Yeah.
I like when Daenerys has to say goodbye to Ser Jorah, who has been her version of Giles, despite the fact that does have the implication that he's attracted to her, but it still works.
Yeah.
I like that he is given his moment to die and her to recognise his importance to her. I would have had the same for Giles and Buffy. And that Buffy then needs to go forward into the world properly this time without Giles.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I would have wanted that. I am not satisfied with the conclusion of Spuffy.
Well, yeah. But it all comes down to what happened in the previous season.
Yes, it does.
They essentially couldn't have the two of them have a happy ending.
I know.
Because he'd done such a terrible thing.
Not even a happy ending. Like, I'm happy for him to die.
Sure. But, like, they had to have him go off in, like, some kind of noble heroes...
Yeah.
In order to redeem him.
Yeah.
That was the only way they could leave it.
I know this is highly divisive, but I don't like their last exchange. I I like that Buffy says, I love you, but I don't like the question mark over whether or not it's sincerely meant. Some people say that it's when Spike says, no, you don't, it is a callback to, it's an echoing of, Buffy says that to him in season 6. He keeps saying, I love you, and Buffy says, no, you don't.
Yeah.
And while recognizing that he truly does.
Yeah.
So, or that it is somehow a noble way for him to absolve her of that and say, go forth and be happy.
Yeah.
Don't be hung up on your very problematic love for me. But I'm like, can we just not make that exchange so complex, please?
Yeah.
I want this to be like this guy's about to die. Buffy, I think, in my mind, does love Spike.
Yeah.
And I want it to be more cathartic. I want it to be somehow more true.
Yeah, although I kind of get it. I kind of get it, because as much as we want Buffy to love Spike, has she ever really shown that she really, really does?
I think, in my head, that she does and finds it difficult to admit. And that's why it needs people like Giles to kind of suggest it, that you know that is the case when it's the person you keep going to. And in season 7, they end up in a much more mature and quote-unquote healthy space, as much as it can be, that she and Spike start to empower each other.
Yeah.
And it becomes more supportive and less destructive.
But is it really love if you can't, like, really say it, if you can't really admit it to other people, if you can't even really admit it to yourself, if you feel bad about it all the time? Is that actually love, or is that something else?
You're probably right, and I'm just upset because the show doesn't let me enjoy it.
Yeah.
I want Delena, and I'm not giving it.
Yeah.
and that hurts me. Because these two people have genuinely good character chemistry and screen time, and I don't feel like I'm rewarded for the great writing of season 5, and I cannot get over the awful narrative turn in season 6.
Yeah.
There we go. That's my piece about Spike. Anything else you would have had happen in the end?
Nothing in particular. I think it is just the group succeeding, and maybe it needs to be more of like the reason that they succeed in the end is because of the group, rather than just another big plan where I guess we have Willow does some like her magic, and we, as you said, you quite like the speech about, you know, all these women around the world being empowered by I
don't mind it. I just don't want Buffy wearing workwear. But yeah, and I say I don't mind it. I don't mind it in isolation, in the way that I'm always here for, like, Aragorn giving a battle speech or Theoden giving a battle speech. My problem with it a bit is that it's sullied in season 7 because it's another group chat. Yeah. It's another battle plan given out, as you said, to all these girls sitting on sofas, and you think, I'm done with this, please, get me out of here.
Yeah.
Something we have not addressed, actually, we were talking about kind of character deaths. We are recording this when we've had the death of Michelle Trachtenberg, which is shocking.
Really sad.
Really sad.
Yeah.
And makes me feel terrible for the amount we've rubbished Dawn on this podcast. Of all the people to kind of not be around in the aftermath of that show, which isn't, I mean, it is an old show, but it's not that old.
No.
And Dawn to have been basically the youngest cast member for a lot of this feels odd to be thinking about her being the first person to have been lost from that cast.
Yeah. Although I think she, you know, we talked a lot about her in the previous episode and how actually great she was in that role.
Yeah.
I think she probably wasn't given lots to do in season 7. She was given quite a lot in season 6. Was quite a lot of kind of her kind of working through what her place in the world was after, and that worked. But yeah, in season 7, again, she gets lost among all these other young girls that are all now the same age as her. And she has her moments. Actually, there's quite a good episode where she's feeling almost jealous of all the other Slayers, and she suddenly like thinks that maybe there's some truth that she might be one of the potentials, and then she finds out she's not, and she has her moments. But again, because it's amongst all these other girls, gets a bit lost.
That's right. And something that could have been good, which is this is Dawn's moment for her high school coming of age narrative.
Yeah.
And it's quite clever to have it played against that Buffy is there, but we're like, it's like a throwback to high school again.
Yeah.
But you're right, it's completely overwhelmed by all the others, completely and totally. All right. That is the end of our many discussions of Buffy. What does this show mean to you, Madeline?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's a kind of it's really iconic in it, like originating a lot of tropes that you'll see in like later shows that I really love. So I definitely see it as like a precursor to things like Supernatural or like other high school kind of shows as well. And like I think it really like originated a kind of genre and like a moment in time that is like really awesome. And yeah, it created a kind of a cast of characters that maybe we forget season 7, but like it created this like set of characters that you just want to love and that you just want to like be a part of their world. And yeah, I think that's kind of for me why I would rewatch, is to see like all those interactions and like the that kind of mixture between monster of the week and overarching story and character development being so excellent. I don't think had been done, and yeah, you might even say has not been done again.
To me, the slightly darker and sort of more the drabness of season 6 and 7 still does not dampen for me what is, I think, one of the greatest TV shows of all time.
Yeah,
I will continue to rewatch it. It doesn't knock it off its pedestal.
No, not at all.
Of this. And maybe that's because we're being critical of 2 seasons out of 7 after 5 real bangers. That I feel like it's still completely excellent. But I think it's easy to forget how different this show was when it first came out, and that you and I then went on to love a whole bunch of content that was about strong female protagonists, and we have the Katnisses and the Violet Sorrengales and the and this continues to this day.
Yeah.
But when Buffy was on TV, it followed a time when really women in sort of supernatural shows or horror, and there's been lots of cultural commentary on this, were either just victims. It was like the blonde people getting killed in horror movies, or where you did have a sort of female warriors. They were really hypersexualized, like Zelda or something. And Buffy is sexy, but she's not sexualized.
Yeah.
I don't feel like she is there. I don't feel like this is a male gaze show.
No.
Despite the fact that we have talked about there is a lot of kind of misogynistic stuff in there that needs to be examined and is really problematic. But it doesn't feel like we're watching Barbie beat up monsters.
No.
There is something about this show that feels like it is for women.
Yes.
In a way. Despite the fact that loads of men really enjoy it.
Of course, yeah.
That makes me kind of keep going back to it. And I think the writing is like world class. The long-term plotting is impressive. The comedy factor is so high. And in those early seasons, I just love it. I want to be in the gang.
Yeah.
I want to be one of Buffy's friends. I want to be a Scooby.
That is the mark of a good show, isn't
want to
it?
be a
You just
Scooby.
want to be in it.
I want to be in the library with Mr. Giles, and I want to be a Scooby. Madeline, of this whole show overall, who is your all-time favourite character of Buffy?
Oh no.
And then I want to ask your favourite Buffy moment.
Okay.
of all
Willow
time.
is my favourite character. Definitely.
Yeah.
Not just because she's ginger lesbian, but
Yeah.
partly because of that.
She's the best actress, though, I think.
She
Alison
is.
Hannigan by a long
She's
way.
excellent, and I love witches, and I think she's great.
Yeah.
My favourite moment. Did you say moment or episode?
It can be either. Just something where you're like, oh my God, I love it.
I think it's... I don't know.
You can think about that while I give my favourite character.
You go.
It can't not be Spike.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I can't manage to get out of the difficult place that puts me in. But from the minute they brought him back, actually no, from the minute he was there as a villain in season 2, I thought, oh, he's good. With Drusilla, who's also brilliant. But from the minute they start to properly integrate him from season 4 onwards, I almost hate episodes if he's not in them.
Yeah.
He's one of the best written characters. James Masters is brilliant, and he just has an energy that really renewed the show in season 4 when otherwise it could have floundered. We talked about season 4 being difficult because we're no longer in high school, and I think a lot of that is due to weaving Spike back in.
Yeah.
So he is definitely my favourite character.
I'm going to say that my favourite episodes are the high concept episodes, and therefore my like favourite 2 are probably the silent one. What's it called?
Hush.
I was going to say Sleep, but I think that's a different one. Hush and Once More with Feeling.
Yeah, and there's actually many, many more than that.
There's way more, but those 2 have like stuck in my mind over the years.
Yeah.
As like, if I was going to like force someone to watch an episode, it would be that one.
Yeah. For me, everything that is clever about Buffy, or is about Buffy's interactions with the other characters. So I love the extremely human and painful to watch fallout of Angel becoming Angelus in season 2, and that being an extended metaphor for Buffy having slept with him, and that going extremely wrong.
Yeah.
I also, on a much lighter note, love the use of Joyce. That's another good high concept episode, separately. The body, for example. But I love when Buffy explains to her mum that she is the Slayer.
Yeah.
And that the show manages to integrate this in a way that Joyce sort of cheerleads Buffy as the Slayer throughout a bunch more seasons.
Yeah.
And that just works so well. But everything I want from the content I consume can be found in Buffy. And which is why I think I feel so strongly about me wanting season 7 to like be better, please. Because I feel the show deserves it.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're going to do now.
I know, we're going to have to start another series.
I think we're going to have to do like Game of Thrones, like something.
Game of Thrones or Harry Potter.
Something that was as all-consuming to us as this.
Yeah.
It has got to be Harry Potter or Game of Thrones. So people listening to this, take the necessary break. It will take Maddie and I a while to go and revise that content. Although I thought we could do Harry Potter with our eyes closed.
Yeah, true.
But Game of Thrones, we're going to need to gear up to, that's going to be a painful rewatch.
Yeah.
I need to be in a very particular place.
I've rewatched it a lot, so I don't know, how many I would actually rewatch.
Well, it might be like the roles are reversed, because I rewatched Buffy on repeat, and then you were doing like a giant rewatch.
Yeah.
And it may well be that like I need to revise Game of Thrones.
Whereas I've watched it
you're here with all the notes. You're like, I know who is who. I am here for it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. All right. Well, on that is the end of our Buffy serialized deep dive. We hope you've enjoyed. You've been listening to the Fangirl Diaries. Follow us on Instagram at Fangirl Diaries Pod.
And do share us with any of your friends that you think might enjoy the podcast, and rate or review us on Spotify or Apple Music.